my palm was the longest time I spent driving just to see something. I didn't mind. The road from Rhode Island to Virginia is straight and flat, filled with open spaces between cities. Sean knows open spaces. They're safer than cities like Virginia, where he still has nightmares of Hartford, Providence, the past that wants him dead, even though he hasn't been the same since his son was born. His son knows open spaces in his heart, where his right atrium should be, where his father could be, but he can't make the money, so he goes back to the city, Providence, and drives 6 states every 2 months to see him. I think I'm the godfather because Sean knows I would drive 10 hours to see anything he needs me to see. I think that that's love, at least it's loyalty. I'm just a city that Sean isn't scared of, a concrete place that knew him since he was a bullet and still wants him breathing, still wants him to know gray hair and grandchildren despite the South Side with its black flags calling. I don't think Sean would go to heaven if there is one. I know that he knows this, lives with blood on everything his dirty hands touch, so he lets me hold my godson all day. Thinks something about me heals something vast in the city chest and heal the space between him and his son. I watch him reintroduce himself the 5th time he's had to do it. See the child blank face hesitation to his touch. I don't know how God I am, how father I can become with my beautiful godson resting on his beautiful name. And Sean can't figure out if he deserves any piece of it. With the people he's killed, the cackling witness of concrete, their fathers, their sons, the nightmares of cities that want his heart cold in his chest, his son's hearts with his open space as payment for the city Sean took. The cement in Sean is too dirty. He doesn't want his son filled with this dirty. He asks me, my cleaner hands, he asks me to help him fill the space. Because to Sean, I have cement arms like a home he imagines his father could have been if he had known him. So I hold the baby for hours. When it is time to leave, he wraps his tiny arms around my head until there is no space between us. Call myself love, loyalty, a clean new city, open. Why do I do spoken word? I think primarily why I do spoken word is because it is a living, breathing form of poetry that really rejuvenates the art form for me. It is a way, it is an opportunity for people to express real parts of themselves in real time to a real audience. So as opposed to other forms of writing where there's this distance between the author and the reader, within spoken word, it's all happening in real time, which I think adds a level of excitement and a level of honesty to a space. I mean, how many spaces exist where no matter what, for 3 minutes, you get an audience that can listen to you, that will listen to you intently. And honestly, to answer that, I've found almost no other spaces that do that undeniably. I don't prefer either inherently. I think both are really rich and both do different things. In a lot of ways, the performance of a spoken word poem can be equated to the spacing on a page poem, right? The way that words work on a page and a space and force your eyes to do certain things is very similar to how the performance and the intonation of the voice act with a spoken word poem. But for me personally, I feel like within spoken word as a genre and movement, there has been far more space allowed for marginalized voices, for silence narratives, and for really poetry to act as a revolutionary act. And so in that sort of realm, I really, really appreciate spoken word for what it is doing. It depends on the poem. I think that the end goal of any spoken word poem should be to move the audience in one way, shape, or form, whether it's moving them cognitively to like some sort of conclusion, or moving them emotionally to understand like the emotional realness of a specific experience or a specific narrative. That's up to the author. But I feel like the end goal is to really have the audience hear something and have how they hear it mingle with what they're hearing, mingle with how they're feeling, and have those three things that are generally separate become one thing.